Hello, everybody. My name is Landon, and today I attempted to beat Resident Evil 7 Biohazard with only the pocket knife, which, for those who have never played the game before, it is the worst weapon in the game because it has the shortest range, weakest damage, and isn't even the best knife you can get. And along with that, there were some tough parts, but I played on easy mode mainly, so I wouldn't be in immense pain trying to complete this. Also, again, shameless plug, please like, subscribe, and if you enjoyed, maybe turn on the notification bell for future videos. Also, I will be showing some spoilers in this video, so if you would like to play the game, just don't watch the video. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Hello?
Hey, it's Ethan.
Oh, hey. You alright? You just disappeared the other night.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. It's Mia.
So Ethan arrives at the Baker property and he finds the front gate locked. So he gets out of his car to look for his wife who disappeared a couple years ago. Before making it to the guest house, Ethan encounters some strange things. Ethan enters the guest house to find it completely dark, so he has to use his flashlight. And then, using a tape, though I've already played the game so I know where it is, I pull down the crank and I open up a secret passage. Though on my way down from the ladder, I take a slight tumble. I find Mia locked inside a cage, and I just can't seem to find the cutters. It's like they're very close. It's really hard to find them, and I just have to look to the left. Anyway, with the cutters acquired, I cut open Mia's cage to rescue her. Though when I wake up Mia, it seems like she's forgotten everything about me. And here comes the first boss fight of the game, or like a little mini boss with Mia. So I technically don't have the pocket knife right now, so I'm forced to use the axe, which is the only melee weapon. But this boss fight is extremely easy, because I just walk up and axe her in the face a couple times. Since I'm playing on easy mode, it's not really difficult, because I just have to axe her once or twice, and then I murder my wife. And then I immediately walk it off like nothing happened. Anyway, after I commit an O.J. Simpson, I had to answer one of the mandatory phone calls in the game.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
After that strange phone call, I pick up the only melee weapon that's available to me right now, and I get jump scared by Mia.
It's okay, it's me. I know you didn't mean to hurt me.
And then all because I stabbed her in the neck, she decides to pin me to a wall, and then come up with a chainsaw and cut off my hand, except I had to cut that part out for demonetization reasons. Now here comes the second mini boss fight with Mia. Again, this is very similar to the first boss fight. I just have to block her chainsaw attacks and then hit her with the axe a couple times, and then she falls. After I kill Mia, I then get OKO'd by Jack. After I get knocked out and then dragged across the Baker property, I wake up at a disgusting dinner table with the Baker family.
What the hell?
Rise and shine, sleepyhead. It's time for supper.
Who are all you people? Where's Mia?
After a short confrontation with them, I then grab the key that's guarded by Jack, and I go down the hatch. I then enter the laundry room, and I'm forced to answer the second mandatory phone call of the game. I then click on the door to activate the sheriff, who then gives me my only weapon for this whole game, the pocket knife.
Pocket knife?
Take it. That's all you need. Now go. Garage. Now.
What am I gonna do with a knife?
I then used the pocket knife from the sheriff to open up the garage and start the first boss fight of the game with Jack. I walk into the garage to talk to the sheriff who gets murdered, and then I grab the key after he gets murdered and I run over Jack 3 times to put him in a second phase. After I hit Jack 3 times, I then look around frantically, waiting for him to rip off the roof and start driving around. Being scared for my life watching Jack's terrible driving skills, after a while of him driving around, he then crashes into a pole. After barely surviving crashing into the pole, I then have to get out of the car. And somehow, Jack survives. I'm like 80% sure he's on crack. But then, the car explodes. Then I'm forced to pick up the Glock. And then as I try to climb up the ladder, Jack, for some reason, commits Sudoku. After watching Jack commit Sudoku, I realize that this game is very vulgar. Please don't demonetize me, YouTube. Anyway, I pick up the bowl key thing, and then I move aside the shelf. After that, I insert the bowl key inside the front door, and I enter the main living room. I then grab the clock pendulum, and I get the first of the 3 dog heads that I need to open up the outside door. I then get the second dog head from a book upstairs. And I grab the wooden statue from the bathtub, and then I meet an old friend. After getting manhandled by Jack, I insert the wooden statue on the shadow puzzle thing, and then I opened up the first shadow puzzle door. I then encounter the very first molded of the game, which I just run around from I used the pocket knife a couple times. That's how I dealt with most of the molded. I then go downstairs to the dissection room and kill a couple molded on my way. I kill the 2 molded that are inside the dissection room, and I do this puzzle with the doors to open up the Travis door. I then get surprised that there's a molded in there, even though I've already played this game before, and I knew that there was a molded in there. I then use the dissection key to grab the third dog head. Oh, never mind. I then stupidly fall for Jack's bait, and then I get sucked in to the second Jack fight. For this fight, to start off the first phase, I kick the body bags into Jack's face and then stab him a couple times. Eventually, Jack gets pissed off enough and he grabs the chainsaw clipper things. But this boss AI is really stupid, and whenever he swings you can just duck under him, get an achievement, and also beat this knife only. I then eventually get Jack backed into a corner and finish off the fight by stabbing him. I then use the chainsaw to open up the door, which breaks. But lucky for me, it does break, so it makes this not a knife and chainsaw only run. I then open up the green shutter door, and I grab the scorpion key and the photo hint. And then I get my first steroid of the game. I love drugs. I use the 3 dog heads on the door, opening up the outside. I then use all the antique coins I've collected to get the second steroid. Drugs. After I inject steroid, I have to answer this third mandatory call.
Show me your willies!
I then go into the old house and slowly stab my way through all the bugs. I then go into the basement area, grab the shadow silhouette, and then I find Mia. But she gets kidnapped by Lucas, and then I encounter Marguerite for the first time. I use the spider puzzle to open up the second shadow door. After that, I get the first backpack of the game, giving me more space, and I grab the crank from below. I then use the crank to go across the river and get the crow key. I then use the newly acquired crow key. I then get dropped down by Marguerite, which starts the first boss fight. Initially, I thought this was impossible, but if you wait, I think about 5 minutes and just knife the bugs, she'll eventually just fall in. I used my watch health thing to open up the first D-series tank. And then I answer the 4th mandatory phone call.
Talking to the
I then walk back down to get Marguerite's lamp. Oh. I'm officially terrified of this game. I then enter the old house and I drop down into Marguerite's boss fight zone. I start off the fight by knifing her in her, private zone. And like a chill guy, she just takes a bite out of me. After Marguerite's little snack, I knife her enough, then she finally turns into stone and dies. After Marguerite crumbles away, I grab the lantern that I need to open up the door. Then, since I killed Marguerite, her control on all the bug life in the bayou crumbles. I then use the lantern to open up the door. And then I run through scared, and I get the DC arm.
I guess this is it.
I then go back to the camper to meet Zoe and answer the 4th phone call.
Never mind.
Hey, buddy.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
After hanging up on the most annoying character in this game, I get the police sheriff's head, and then I have to reach down his throat, except I had to cut that out for demonetization. I then use the snake key to open up the first snake door. I then run over to the trophy and I push the button to drop down the ladder. I then do the 3rd shadow puzzle to open up the dollhouse that gives me the blue key card. With the blue keycard acquired, I open up the second snake door, opening up the bedroom. I then get the second backpack, giving me more space, and I complete the clock puzzle to open up the bed. Then I grab the second red keycard and I put in both keycards to enter Lucas's boring section.
Ethan.
After the TV blows up in my face, I go through Lucas's traps and I get my third dose of steroids. I then insert the battery pack, which blows up in my face. And then I kill the fat molded, which really wasn't much of a challenge. After using the lift, I get the code from the Auschwitz survivor. Never mind. And then I use the code to open up, and I speedrun Lucas's puzzle. After completing the puzzle, the cake then blows up in my face. But Lucas's trap backfires on him because I then place the bomb that was for me and blow up his control area. I then use the crank to open up the river area. I then use the crank again to get to the old boathouse. I run up the stairs to find Mia and Zoe. I rescue Mia first because I care about her more, and Zoe is kinda annoying. I then rescue Zoe because she's the one who can make the cure. I take both cures from Zoe, then I get jump scared by Jack.
His name is John C.
For the whole boss fight, I just have to run around Jack and then use the knife on his little eyeballs, because every Resident Evil boss has to have an eyeball. After stabbing all the eyeballs, he goes down into the water and then jumps back up and attacks me. But all I have to do is just knife him in the face, and then he drops down in defeat. But then, I realize that he's not really dead. And I'm forced to use one of the cures on him, which means I'm going to have to choose which person I'm going to use the cure on after I defeat him. With Jack defeated, of course I choose Mia, because I don't care about Zoe. Then, me and Mia right away, happily ever after. But then, I realized that this game is not over. As Evelyn rises out of the water, she flips the boat, tossing me and Mia into the bayou. And now for Mia's section. Probably the second worst section. I open up the door and I enter the ship. Then I jump down one of the air vents. Now I encounter Evelyn. And then for some reason she wants me to watch some random tape. I start off the tape by listening to Alan whine about he's like dying or something. And then I go into the kitchen area to find some black jizz. For this part, there is no pocket knife, so I had to use Mia's survival knife, but I'm pretty sure they do the same amount of damage, so there's no difference. I use the elevator to get down to the bottom floor. And then I open up the green door and get the corrosive. I use the corrosive to open up the door by molding it or something. Then I go back to the elevator, and I have to fight off a couple molded so I can get back up. But on my way up, the elevator breaks, so I have to push it open. Then, as I get to the top, I watch Alan puke everywhere and then die. R.I.P. Alan.
We'll be together for.
Then I finish off the tape by confronting Evelyn.
Now do you remember?
After watching the tape, I regain my memory of what happened to me in the past. And then I go down to the ship's control bay and I use the cameras to find Ethan.
Make it in time.
I then go into the captain's quarters and I get the lug wrench. I use the lug wrench to open up the elevator. I then climb up and I get the survival knife from the 2F bench. I then do the painting puzzle and I get corrosive. After fighting my way through the first floor, I get the fuse. And then I go up to the third floor and I get the power cable. After collecting the power cable, I have to run past some molded, and then I go back down to the elevator and I use the fuse and the power cable to restore power. I then use the elevator to get to the bottom level and confront Evelyn.
Ethan.
Then, I switch back to Ethan, and Mia gets me out of the mold,
You have
and then she hands me Evelyn's tissue samples.
to take this.
Wait, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Now as Ethan, I kill some of the molded so I can get down to the salt mine elevator. I have to do some loops around the molded so they don't damage me too much. Then I use the elevator to go down to the abandoned salt mines. I push one of the carts so I can kill a couple molded and clear out the wood in the way. Then, I go into the lab area and I use steroids. I feel just like John Cena. Then I use my watch and I open up the D-series tank. I then get the necrotoxin. Then, I confront Evelyn and I make my way up to the fat molded area. Except since I'm just so goated, I just climb past them and ignore them. I then make my way back into the old house by kicking down some boards. I confront Evelyn again with the necrotoxin, and she starts flipping out and sending clones of Mia after me. Then, I run towards her and I stab her with the necrotoxin. After there's a white flash, and then I learn that Evelyn was really the grandma the whole time. This starts the first stage of Evelyn's boss fight, which really, I had the most trouble with, because the second part is kind of staged. But this part, I had to knife her at least 15 times so I can knock her into the second stage, except I kept getting munched on. After knifing her 15 times, Evelyn sprouts out, and then it starts her second phase. The second phase starts with Evelyn picking me up into the air. Once she picks me up, I just have to knife one of her arms once, and she drops me down. I then get a call and I finish off the fight by grabbing the Albert Model 1.
Playtime's over.
After defeating Evelyn, I then get rescued by Daddy Chris. And this concludes Resident Evil 7.
I'm Redfield. Glad we found you.
Maybe this is where the next door opens.
And that is how I beat Resident Evil 7 with the pocket knife only. I would just like to thank for everyone who watched to the end of the video, and to prove that you were one of the people who made it to the end of the video, comment black jizz in the comment section below. And before I end off the video, I would just like to plug in again, please like, subscribe, and if you really enjoyed, turn on the notifications bell. Anyway, thank you for watching.